Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors Podcast.
This pig came bottling.
Just ended up puking last night. It sucked.
Whoa! Ah! We gut it, we wrap it in tinfoil, throw it over the fire.
All right, everyone, it's Cody from Thin Blue Line Outdoors. This is podcast 79, I believe, on top of my head. I'm here with a longtime friend, old Jacob Woods. Jacob and I went to high school together and dabbled. We did a little hunting together back then, and we had not hunted for a long time until recently, which we'll get to. But Jacob started Coal Creek Outdoors, and I'm going to let him introduce himself from there.
Yep. So, like Cody said, known him a long time. Let's see, when did you move to town? Around like freshman year, eighth grade?
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade, right?
What year would that have been?
2007?
2007.
Yep, 2007.
Yep.
So met Cody then, started out hunting each other, actually airsoft battles and all that good stuff, messing around, being punk kids back in the day. And, you know, that was the thing to do back then before all this crazy technology and everything. But did that. And yeah, like Cody said, did a little bit of deer hunting back in the day in high school. And, you know, that's how I met Cody when he moved to town. And yeah, we're pretty good friends, and just life takes you in different directions. And been a while since I'd seen Cody, started watching the channel and everything. And you guys do awesome stuff and have really good hunts. And, you know, I'd always kind of wanted to start something myself. And I think seeing, you know, what you guys were doing, that was one of the things that helped me kind of decide, you know what, if Cody's got kids and he can spend the time and effort to put in the extra work and do it, then, you know, why can't I start something up?
Yep, 100%. So you started Coal Creek Outdoors. So what, if you don't mind me asking, where the name came from?
So Coal Creek is the main creek that actually runs through out where I live and where I do the majority of my hunting. So, you know, kind of right out in the backyard, and hits home to where we live. And like I said, I hunt just about everything out here, and, you know, probably be out here the majority of my life. So it just kind of flowed together well and just kind of went with it.
Yep. So I know growing up, you were mainly into deer hunting, correct?
Yep.
But I know, at least, I don't know if you would, I guess I might be putting words in your mouth here. I know from what I've watched from your channel and then what you and I have done, it seems like, yes, you do a little bit of everything, but your main expertise is coyote hunting with thermals. Yeah,
definitely. So, I mean, like you said, I would hunt anything, you know, even see these people doing crazy stuff like hunting rats in the junkyards and stuff with night vision and pellet guns and stuff. Like, I would do that. You know, I'd love to go to New Zealand to hunt red stag. You know, I want to go hunt elk. I have hunted boar, hogs down in Texas. I've hunted anything and everything Illinois has to offer. So, like, if there's a season, if there's something to hunt, definitely something to eat, then, you know, I'm on it. But like you said, coyote hunting, it's definitely got my heart, and it's just the adrenaline rush that you don't quite get with all other kinds of hunting.
If you don't mind me asking, like, how did you get into thermals? You know, like, what was the first time you went? Like, how that rabbit hole start? So
that's probably striking more like my tactical type interest. You know, always liked, you know, tactical type movies, and wanted to be the cop when I was a kid and all that stuff. And, you know, life took me a different direction and decided not to pursue something like that. I heard. So I don't know if I could deal with all the nonsense that you guys got to deal with nowadays. So luckily took a pass on that one. But no, I've always liked shooting guns, and in Illinois, you know, as you know, rifle hunting doesn't really give you much opportunity. So I've always liked rifles, more long distance shooting, and then, you know, having kids and everything, that kind of takes back from, you know, some of the hunting that you would like to be doing. And coyote hunting, especially at night, really it really opens up that door where you can actually get out, you can get the kids to bed, you can go hunting, and you don't really have to feel guilty that you're missing on anything. They're in bed, usually wife's in bed, or at least not getting bothered too bad, and dad gets to load up and get out and have some fun.
Yep. So did you just see it like on social media and stuff, like this is something I want to try, and bought one, or how'd that start?
So I worked with a guy, and he was huge into night vision and stuff. And he got to tell me, and he's like, man, as much as you're into hunting, and like, I was kind of looking at night vision myself. He's like, man, you should look at thermal. And that was probably 2016. So, I mean, thermals, they were a thing, obviously, but I mean, back then it was nowhere anything like it is today. I bought a junky ATN scope, which, I mean, back then, 2016, thermals weren't really that well known about. There wasn't a ton of research, and they were still like ungodly expensive. So I think I paid $4,000 for a junk scope that only worked half the time. But I was still able to kill some coyotes back then. And it's like, once you call one in and you kill one, it's like, okay, that was awesome. Now, like, I feel like spending a little bit more money, because if I can pick them up better and get a crisper picture and have something more reliable, you're going to kill more, you're going to have more fun, and man, it just hooks you from there.
Yep. Especially with you filming it now. Obviously, like the crisper picture definitely shows up. So I know one thing I can say, I'm mad at Jacob, because he took me out, and I had an absolute blast. We only called in one group, but it was a good time. Really enjoyed it. Of course, Jacob forgot his magazine on that one, and we
the only time I did that. Of course,
the only time all year, right?
Yeah, all in my life, actually. Yep. So I'm kind of mad at you, Cody, because you distracted me, and I'm blaming you for it.
That's fair. And it was funny because we were talking about it before. I think he had just started the call sequence, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot my mag," and as a joke, I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna call in a pack," and sure enough,
yeah, yeah.
And one thing I was kind of not suspecting, because so I've coyote hunted before. I've called them in during the day. I have hunted at night before, like you get snow on the ground and it's moon's out, whatever. I've hunted at night before doing that, but never. I've only had thermal hunted once before with my buddy Ryan, and we didn't have any luck that day. Anyway, I was surprised how far away we picked those up. Because you said, "Oh, here they come." I was able to find them in the scope I was using right away, and they were how many yards do you think they were when we first saw them, Jacob?
Oh, probably about 600 yards. So yeah, that's one of those things that you get what you pay for, and the more money you spend on something, the further away you're going to be able to identify it. It's like, am I looking at a coyote, a deer, a raccoon? Any wide variety of those things at 2,000 yards can more so just look like a blur or a dot. But if you get something more expensive that has that higher resolution, the higher base magnification, you're going to be able to pick it up a lot quicker, and then that'll help like, okay, if I've got one actually out there that far, is it responding? What's it doing? It kind of helps you gauge where you go next with your call sequence.
Yep. Which, that's a good thing, because obviously there's whole kinds of strategy in it. I know the whole time you were like, I would say, using almost like slang terms about when you're like, "Hey, we're using this call. Did you learn that just by trial and error? Did you? Other YouTubers, or like, how'd you learn all that stuff?
Yeah, a lot of trial and error. There's all these Facebook groups, and the first thing these guys do when they're new to these groups on coyote hunting and everything is they'll throw out a post, what's everybody killing on, what sounds are working. And it's like, what might work for you in one area doesn't mean it's going to work for somebody else in a different area, different seasons and different landscape and different hunting pressure. there's so much stuff that goes into it that like every area is unique, every hunt's unique, and you really just got to go out and just see what works for you. But as far as like people on YouTube, probably one of the most famous coyote hunters, Al Morris. That guy's awesome. He's a wealth of knowledge. The guy's a Fox Pro. John Collins, he's got a podcast that's really good. Corey Cook, he's a guy that he not only develops calls and records them, but he practically lives with coyotes. He's almost like the Jane Goodall of coyotes, except he still goes out and he kills them. I don't think Jane Goodall kills the monkeys that she's hanging out with, but he goes out, he tries his own stuff, he hunts them, and he actually makes sure that the stuff is working before he throws it out on the market for, guys like me that's running out in the middle of fields in the middle of the night just hoping to kill something.
Yep. And you're using Fox Pro, right? Fox
Pro. Yep.
Yep. I know. Like I said, I learned a lot just going with you. I know one thing that stuck out with me was, especially here, we're in West Central Illinois. We, obviously we're known for our deer hunting. We got big deer here in the area, and it's hard to get permission to hunt stuff anymore. It really is. Very rarely you're going to be able to knock on a door around here and be like, hey, can I deer hunt this? Because either they deer hunt themselves or they got somebody willing to pay several $1,000s to hunt it. That does not seem to be the case when it comes to coyotes, though. Hey, I want to hunt coyotes in the middle of the night. It seems like you can get permission, pretty easily.
Yeah, there's definitely an advantage to it because, you might even have deer hunters that are really serious about their deer hunting, that they don't mind you coming on their property and hunting coyotes because, as you saw, a lot of places we were set up, we're hanging out on the edge of fields. We're not interrupting the timber. And anytime that I've hunted fields and had deer in the area, like they're pretty unfazed. Like I've even killed coyotes and let them lay in the timber, or not in the timber, let them lay in the field, and have had deer kind of step right over them practically. And it's almost like they think that, you're out there doing the deer a favor. Because you don't have to worry about pressuring them. Deer season's over, and it's just it's easy, like you said, because people aren't worried about you going out and killing some big trophy coyote, like they'd be worried about you killing some big buck that they've been watching for 5 years.
Yep. Have you really been told no when you're knocking on doors asking permission?
I have a couple times. Yep. But it's one of those things like, it's their property and you always respect that. And the main reasons I've gotten before is like if they've had cattle, just the concern that you might accidentally shoot a cow or whatnot. And, I've never wanted to argue or nothing. I've never said like, oh no, I'm a really good shot. Like you don't have to worry about your cattle. Our thermals will pick it up. We'll know it's a coyote. Tell them greatly appreciate it and just kind of, move on. And sometime you never know, they might come back around to you. But just knowing people is huge. Knowing people in the area, and sometimes the more people that know that you're coyote hunting, word kind of spreads. And I've got a lot of properties just by word of mouth from other people that are saying, hey, I got this guy that he killed 2 coyotes at my outside my cattle farm last week. Before you start calving, give him a call. He'd probably come out and take care of some for you.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. I know, like everybody wants the coyotes dead. They're very good at producing, spreading their population and stuff. So anytime we can thin the numbers, and that, like I might kill 1 coyote a year out here. If I'm lucky, I might kill 2 or 3. I think, I'll be honest, I think the most I've ever killed out here is 2. And I know that's not really putting a dent in the population. They get one spring season, they rebounded more from that. So I know it's hard to thin the herd when it comes to coyotes and stuff. So I know I can't say enough how much I had a blast. And I remember before ever going with you and even going before Ryan, like I saw it. It looked like it was fun, but I'm like, man, I'm not going to spend $3-4 grand on a scope just to kill some damn coyotes. Like, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. And then I went with you and had so much fun. And now I'm like, damn. Now I was texting Jacob.
Yeah, you're hooked.
Looking at scope. Yeah, I'm looking at scopes. Like, what do you know about this one? What do you know about this one? Yeah, and it was fun. It really was a blast. And I know one thing that I actually want to talk to you more about too, because obviously the coyote things was fun. But when you went to Texas, you went hog hunting at night. If you guys want to talk about that a little bit more, because I've obviously been hog hunting now 3 times. We make it a yearly thing, and it's a blast. But your style is completely different than what we did.
Yeah. Yep. I actually got to know a guy probably about 5 years ago. Worked at one of my facilities that I manage, and he was a technician for me, and got to know him for about a year through that. And the privilege about what I do for work, I get to meet a lot of guys from Texas, working wind energy and wind down in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, all that. It's just everywhere. So, a lot of your traveling contractors are from that area. So if you need help to come up, a lot of times we'll get lots of guys from Texas. So, getting to know those guys can be extremely beneficial. So he joined a guide company and invited me to come out and do some hog hunting. And yeah, I mean, it was a blast. So we set up in some blinds up on some heaters, and they had pictures of just massive boars just every day, 20, 30 hogs coming up like clockwork. Feeder kicks off, spins a corn out or whatever. 5 minutes later, they're just flocking to the spot. But of course, me bringing my bad luck with me, that was like the only afternoon that not a single hog came up to that feeder. So it was me and my dad, actually. I brought him out, and that was the first time that he ever gun hunted anything, the first time he ever looked through a thermal. So he was nervous. I was kind of nervous for him, because you drive all that way, you invest all that into it, not so much money. I mean, any hog hunt in Texas is going to be pretty affordable. I'd say that's one of the most affordable hunting trips you could probably ever take. So pressure was just more so high of coming back without shooting anything. So after we didn't have any luck sitting in the blinds on the feeders, we started just driving around the backcountry of Texas, scanning all these fields that they owned and had permission to hunt and everything. And we first pulled up on a group of probably 50, 60 hogs. So we spotted them from probably a good 200-300 yards away. And the guys are like, all right, we just pull out, hop the fence, and we're going to see if we can get within about 50 yards. And, once you guys get within range where you're comfortable, just, use your safe shooting practices. We'll stay behind you, keep everything in front of you, and just don't stop shooting until, they stop moving. So it was crazy. It was crazy, man. Like, you wouldn't think that you could sneak up on anything that close, but we did. We probably got 40 yards, and, I know we could have gotten closer. It was just one of those things that, okay, here we are. We haven't spooked anything. So, I got me and my dad set up and gotten to a good point, did the old 1-2 shoot. And then from that point on, just let it rain. And we were just going for sheer numbers at that point, just dropping as many as we could. And I'll tell you, there's nothing that can prepare you for that for the very first time. You watch these videos on YouTube, and these guys will drop 20, 30 hogs as a group, and they're just dropping them everywhere. But after that first crack of the bullet, especially guys like us that we don't get to have suppressors up here. So we didn't have any on our guns. So there wasn't that factor to keep the calmness of the herd. So as soon as that first shot ran, man, the hogs ran every which direction. So you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm trying to shoot a second one. And as soon as you get set up on one shot, they're darting and bobbing and weaving just everywhere. It's just pure chaos, but a lot of fun.
It looked like fun.
It was a ton of fun. It was definitely worth it. We're going to go back. We ended up picking up, I think, 6 or 7 total. We didn't spend a ton of time tracking. We stopped at one spot, then we'd regroup, take off driving, look for another pack, because we were going for sheer numbers and shots. Like if something's laying in the woods, it can stay there. Like I'm here to shoot, I'm gonna start shooting.
Yep. But they just want them dead anyway.
They do too. Yep.
So. Yeah, that's by far. I think I've watched majority of your videos, and I'll be honest, that's my favorite one. That's that was my favorite. Like just watching the pure chaos, it looked like a blast, absolute blast.
Yeah, and for as long as a drive that we made, like I did not prepare like I should have. The scope that I was using, like I actually just bought it like 2 weeks before I took it out there. I sighted in where I was comfortable with it, but I didn't really understand all the functions. Yeah. And like I got it stuck in on Zoom. So I was like zoomed in at 6 times at like 50 to 100 yards, just way deep on these things. So I'm like in a panic trying to figure out how to zoom it back out. And we ended up killing them. But, you know, knowing what I know now, if we went back again, I think we could easily double, triple, quadruple our odds and just getting that learning curve out of the way.
Yeah, nope. That's, I would say definitely like, I mean, it was nice. I feel like I've gotten a little spoiled because, you know, I used the scopes my buddy had, and then I used your backup scope and I went with you. So I had, each time I was messing with them, I had somebody with me who knew how to run that scope. Yep. So, you know, I could definitely see where if you were learning completely by yourself, there's a learning curve and where you could make some mistakes and stuff. I know it, I could see where it'd be difficult. So I guess if you're a newbie, say me, for example, and you're in Illinois, we'll probably say you're in Illinois, so that limits you on what you can use for rifle wise. What would you recommend to a noob guy just trying to get into the thermal game? Let's go from what gun to what scope you'd recommend.
Well, like you said, we're a lot more limited than other states now, but so you're on a bolt action gun, and you about can't go wrong. I mean, even like a cheaper Savage would do just fine as far as caliber. I like the 22-250. It shoots really flat. The bullets fly at incredible speeds. It's hitting with a lot of force behind it. It's a lighter weight bullet. So I mean, usually that's what you're looking for in a Coyote caliber: something fast, something light, something that hits hard. It'll put them down easy. Like I don't think I've had any take more than a couple steps from even an average shot. My buddy though that hunts a lot with me, he uses a 6mm Creedmoor, and that thing is just devastating. So like if you're looking to just kill them, you don't care about pelts whatsoever, and you can put a mediocre shot on one of them and still put it down. Like I would definitely suggest the 6mm Creedmoor, or a lot of guys like the 243. That'll just devastate them. So as far as, you know, what you're putting in them, that's probably where I'd go: 22-250, 6 Creed, or 243.
Okay.
The thermal game, man, it's stepped up a lot. It used to be just a couple really solid brands. Then you had like your cheaper, not even really cheap, because like no thermal is cheap, but more like your budget. You're playing with fire when you're getting into thermals, man. You got to open up that checkbook and not look back. But it's a buy once, cry once thing. Buy something you're going to be happy with. The 384 resolution is like pretty standard for what a lot of like your mid-level scopes, and that'll do just fine. They've come such a long way with the processors and everything. You don't have to run a 640 resolution scope. I mean, I do, but like you said, with the filming and everything, makes the film look a lot more crisp. It helps you identify stuff a lot further out. Yeah. So anywhere between that 384 to 640 resolution, that's definitely where you want to be. Brands, I mean, I use an iRay. iRay makes really good products. For as much money as you spend on these things, you definitely want to look at warranties. So that's something I learned with having an ATN. I sent that scope in like 3 times for warranty work. It was just garbage. Now this IRA, it's got a 5-year warranty. Never had one single issue with it. Paid quite a bit of money for it, but it's been a solid unit. I've killed more coyotes this season than I ever have before. Think about your little things like, a laser rangefinder on your scope is huge. When you're shooting a pretty flat caliber, like you don't really have to worry about anything. I'd say usually 50 to 250 yards. But if you're going to go out and try to get those longer pokes, which once you get more experience, you'll definitely want to. You have a coyote hung up at 500 yards, like you're going to want to send one down range and try to take it out. So that rangefinder, man, is clutch for that. Your compensation amounts is so high once you get out to that distance. Every inch counts. You look at a coyote, and with all of its fur and everything, your body dimension looks a lot larger. But when you actually consider like its actual, just its body cavity without its hair, you're only looking at like a 5-6 inch target that's a lot of times not going to be standing completely still.
Yep. And
so
then
you really want to dial it in.
Yep. No, I can see that. So I guess what would be a couple brands you would recommend to look at? Just like if you give like top 3 brands, you would say if somebody's getting into it.
Top 3, I'd go number 1, IRA or Infrared USA, same manufacturer. Number 2, I'd probably put up Pulsar. They make awesome products, really good reliability. That's what you were running, was a Pulsar. Yep. So that was the second scope that I went with, and never had any issues with that. Had it for 2-3 seasons. Number 3 is kind of a tougher one. AGM. Those are really good quality, lots of different features, and you can get your onboard rangefinder there. And there's new models and manufacturers coming out every year, like Rick's. That was a really big one that hit the market. I actually had my hands on one before they even hit the market where you could buy them. I was looking at my scope, the one that I ended up buying at a open house at Midwest Thermal out in Walnut, Illinois. That's where I buy all my thermal optics. So they had an open house where they'll bring in like your sales reps, their pro staff shooters. And it's a great opportunity to walk outside with all these different optics, test it on the range, get your hands on them, see how they look on a gun, see how it feels on a tripod. And the Rick's supporter, he was actually there, the salesman, and he was trying to get me to buy it, which I loved the scope. It was really, really nice, but it wasn't going to come out in time for this hog hunt. So that's kind of why I stuck with the IRA, but I'm glad I did, because it's been an awesome unit.
Gotcha. Where's Walnut, Illinois at? Is that south, or I don't even know where that's at?
It's north. You're going to be up around, like Tuscaloosa area, like north of Cambridge, kind of out there, Henry County.
Yep.
So kind of uncharted territory for us Southerners down here in Fulton County.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know where that's at. So didn't know they did such a thing. So
it's a cool place. So out of our coyote hunt, what would you say was your favorite part about the whole thing?
I mean, honestly, seeing that pack coming from such a distance, and it was kind of cool because like we're sitting there, and we'll tell a story. And like I said, the video is already out on Cold Creek Outdoors YouTube channel. I'll put the link during this. You'll be in the description, so definitely check it out. As this video comes out on this coming Friday, will be the Thin Blue Line Outdoors version of it. So definitely check out Jacob's version of it, and then check ours out coming out on Friday. But you'll see in both videos. So we see these coyotes coming from a long ways away, and like it was just nice. Like we were able to whisper and kind of talk to each other, and which our communication was subpar, as we found out. But anyway. Yeah, these coyotes, just seeing them coming from such a distance, because I'm just not used to do that. Because honestly, when I've coyote hunted in the past during the day, if I see a coyote, I can shoot a coyote. And usually they see us too, and they're on high alert. So like it happens real quick. So to see them coming, I think I was looking like it was like a 3-minute video. 3 minutes we were able to watch them till I pulled the trigger, and I thought that was really cool. And then obviously too, one thing I noticed was after the initial shot, if you try to shoot one in the day, it's usually chaos after that first shot.
Yep.
They ran after the first shot this time, but not like they would during the day. Like you can get your follow-up shots and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say that's probably my coolest thing I thought was just how far we could see him coming away. And then honestly, I enjoy this hunting coyotes in the day and night. Just when you start getting them to interact with you, howling back and stuff, yeah. That's always cool. I always love that. I took my daughter coyote hunting back in January, February, and we were just hunting during the day. And I got a pack to start calling back to us, and her eyes light up, and like that's always
yep. Just that reassurance that something's out there, and you've got a lot better chance now than what you thought you did 10 seconds ago.
Yep. So that was my favorite part. But kind of go back to our story a little bit. Like I said, you guys can see this unfold. What was funny? So there's 5 coyotes, and we can see them going from such far away. There's a crest in the field, so when they go underneath that crest, we can't see them. So when they pop up, some of them start working their way to our left, and some of them are coming right at us. While I'm looking at the ones working to our left, Jacob's looking at the ones coming right at us. So I'm on my one, watching it, and Jacob said he was going to stop it, and I'm thinking, man, that's pretty far out there still. But like, okay, you're the expert. I have no idea. He's looking at one that's like 60 yards from us. I have no idea. So sure enough, when you wolf, the one I'm looking at stops perfectly. So I shoot. Would have swore I saw it fall. Because you missed. Keep shooting. Like what? And where I'm looking, we found out my coyote did fall. So I'm like, okay, I don't see one. So I start looking, and I end up making a couple pot shots when they were way out there and missed. But that was funny, comical. And like today, I was going over the content again and like looking at the one you're looking at. I mean, it was a give me shot,
Oh yeah, you could count the teeth. Yep.
Yeah. So that was comical and fun. So but yeah, that was obviously, I mean, that was the kill that we had for the night, but that was really fun. I had a really good time doing that. And again, thank you for letting me come out with you. I know you've been inviting me for a while, and we're finally able to make it happen. I have a feeling you'll see more collaborations between Jake and I in the future when it comes to doing stuff like that, because it was a blast.
Oh, we better see. And you missed kind of the height of the season. Once you get that late in the season, don't get me wrong, you can still call them in. You can kill quite a few if you know how to transition your call sequences and what they're really listening for. They're getting ready to start denning up and everything, so you got to change up your game plan of you're more so getting closer into their bedroom, getting closer to the timber lines. But there is nothing like mid-November night hunting season when you've got all these young coyotes that they're not educated on the calls yet. No one else has really been out hunting them. The number.
Oh.
And you've got just any and all opportunities to just stack them up.
Gotcha.
So we're going to get you out soon.
I lost you there for like 5 seconds, and then it popped back in.
Yep, I got you now though.
Yep, gotcha. So mid-November. Yeah, that's the only thing we'll have to work around is deer hunting, because I get that.
Hey, you can't deer hunt in the middle of the night, so
that's true.
I know where you live. I'll just drag you out, and we're going.
Yep, that is true. Yeah, like I said, I had a blast. I definitely think you're going to see Jacob and I do some more stuff together. Then anything else on the coyote front you want to talk about before we move on?
Oh, heck. I could talk forever on coyote hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, I live it and breathe it, man. I don't know how much money I've spent on it, but I know the one thing, I know how much fun I've had doing it.
Yep.
People say, you can't eat a coyote. Why do you coyote hunt? you just like murdering innocent animals and this and that. And it, you know, it's your God-given right to hunt them. So like, that's why I'm going to do it. And things other people's livestock, like I know you've got chickens and everything to keep them at bay, because they're smart to the point to where they'll figure out what they can and can't do. And if they know that you're going to be out there, you know, thinning the herd out, thinning the pack out as they're coming in, getting closer to your property there, they're not going to mess with you as much, and they're going to kind of steer clear. And we actually had one that was coming up and trying to hunt our little dog last weekend in the backyard early in the morning. So wife woke me up and rolled out of bed, ran to the basement as fast as I could. I just put all my hunting stuff away for the season. Got it on there and ran out to the yard. No shirt, no nothing. It's cold and raining outside, but I didn't care. There was a coyote in the yard. And you know, this thing started out at 200 yards and just stalking through the field toward my backyard, looking at our 15-pound little dog out there in the yard, and put one to its throat. And you know, you got to kind of tell them what's up, and this ain't gonna fly around here. You're not gonna come in the backyard and take out the family dog. So it's stuff like that. Like, they're ruthless. Coyotes have no rules, and once you figure out that coyotes have no rules, that's going to help you a lot with how you hunt them too. They're always looking for something. They're always looking for a meal. They're always looking for territory, for breeding. And once you kind of wrap your mind around that whole process and you try to target every one of those types of coyotes while you're out, you're going to have a lot more success.
Nope, I'm with you. Like I said, I've told this story on the podcast before, and I'll tell it again. You know, back in January, I think it was, I was got off third shift. My wife and kids went to take my daughter to school. All of a sudden, my cat was freaking out in the yard. I didn't know why. Well, I just had a coyote right at the edge of the yard. So I put my rifle right to it and took care of business right then and there. So yeah, they you know, and coyotes, I don't know if you ever read Coyote America by Dan Flores. So I had to think about that. But they're like, he breaks it down how coyotes have just they're one of the few animals who have thrived under, you know, European colonization of America. Like, they're everywhere now. They're in your big cities, they're in your countrysides, they're everywhere. You know, especially when we got rid of bears and wolves on the Great Plains and stuff like that. Well, coyotes filled that niche, you know. So yeah, it was. I mean, yeah, they definitely got to take care of them, and I will definitely oblige doing that. So, and you know, I don't. When it comes to, I don't know, have you gotten any hate on YouTube and stuff with people?
Oh yeah, plenty. Yeah. I probably 1 in every 10 comments is somebody on there saying you're a ruthless killer and I hope you burn in hell and all this crazy stuff, and you have mental problems if you're out there doing this, and they just go on and on. And I'm thinking, you sound like the one that has a mental problem, because you're making death threats at me for posting content of something I'm doing legally and something I've been doing. Exactly. Like, you turned it on, turn it off. If you don't want to watch coyotes getting killed, don't type in coyote gets headshot at 200 yards. Like, I don't know, talk about punching butterflies and sunsets or something, if that's what you're all about, and leave my coyote hunting alone.
I had a comment yesterday on one of our videos. I think it said like F the thin blue line. You know, you guys are a bunch of gang. And of course, I always kill them with like sarcasm. I'm like, oh, that's not very nice of you. And, you know, like, it's just the amount of hate you get sometimes. It's comical. And to be honest with you, every now and then somebody makes a comment that gets me to laugh. Like, we had one, I forget where we were. I think we were making a joke about eating a donut in the tree stand or something like that. And a guy commented, or like the fat blue line. And I'm like, that's pretty good. That's comical.
Yeah.
I laughed at that one.
That's a shirt idea for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, make a silhouette of a dude with a dad bod pulling back a bow or something. Sell the heck out of that.
That's what I was thinking. That was a good one. I like that one.
So have you ever gotten the people that they'll try to slander what you're doing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then here comes like your fellow outdoorsman. You know, usually it's not even somebody you know, but have you ever had somebody else like stand up and like start getting into a Facebook war and commenting back and forth, anything like that?
Yeah, I find that funny. I just let it go. Like,
yeah,
that one's comical. Yeah, that's happened a couple times now. Especially bear hunting. Bear hunting is a hot topic. A lot of people, I always get a lot of views on my bear hunts. A lot of people don't like it. So that's always a good one. I know we're going bear hunting again this spring. I already know I'll probably have some good comments coming out of it. So, but I get both. I get people who defend me on that one and people who hate it. But I even see bear hunting is kind of weird because I have some hunters who don't like bear hunting.
Really?
Bear hunting? Yeah, I've had some people who hunt who just like I have no desire to hunt bears and all that stuff and kind of hate on it. They're deer hunters. Just something about bears, like, and even my brother Caleb. So my brother Caleb, he killed his first bear last year, and he enjoyed it. He's happy he did it. He said he will never do it again.
No kidding.
Yep. He had to put a follow-up shot in it. First shot took out its spine, so then he had to shoot it a second time, and he just didn't like it. He just like it's not like a deer, and it is. And I think the same reason why he didn't like it, I think, is why I like it, because it is a predator. Like, when a deer sees a human, it's like pure fear. Like, oh, he's trying to get me and eat me. The bears, if they see you, a lot of times they don't look at you that way. They look at you like curious, and they're trying to check you out. And I remember the very first time I went bear hunting in Ontario, I had this big bear come in. I didn't know what a big bear was at that time. I found out after this encounter. I should have shot it. It was my very first day. I was hunting by myself. This big bear comes in. I'm like, man, I don't want to kill bear on my very first night out. So I didn't shoot him. I just took some pictures. And this bear comes in right away, knew where I was, did not care, looked right at me, and he just like all puffed out, like kind of like I'm the king. You're not going to do shit to me. Is the attitude it had. And I just took some pictures. And then it hung out probably 5-10 minutes at the bait site and then walked away. I come back and I'm showing my dad and the outfitter all these pictures, and the outfitter and my dad are, you are stupid. You're an idiot. Like, that was a big bear. Why did you not shoot that bear? And I'm like, oh, I'm sure it'll come in the next day. Never came in again.
No.
And I ended up killing a nice bear, but it wasn't nearly as big as that bear was. But like, ever since then, I've been hooked on bear hunting just because, like I said, it's like, I mean, I wouldn't say we're on equal grounds because obviously we're armed and all that stuff, but like it's definitely different where it's you're hunting a predator and something that could quite possibly take you out. I know. So last year when I shot my bear, I had to shoot it twice. So I shot it, and we found out, and it was my biggest bear to date. It was 300 pounds. I shoot this bear, and my arrow went through the very frontal lobes of both lungs. So it was dying, which is not as quick as I would have liked. So anyway, I start tracking this bear. And I find it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put another arrow in it to finish it off. And it's so thick up there. By the time I got to a good spot where I could shoot it, I was 5 yards away from it. And
holy
I'm like, man,
smokes!
Yeah, and I'm like, if this bear turns around, I'm screwed. Which I didn't get that on film. I was more worried about putting it down. I got my first arrow on film. So I know when I was shooting and I just had my bow. I'm looking behind me. I'm like, okay. When I shoot this arrow, if this thing spins around, I got to get to that tree, at least get that tree in between me and it. Yeah. But anyway, that second shot ended up going through its back, out its chest, just took out everything vital. He ran, I don't even know if he ran 10 yards and died right away. So it was, I don't do a lot of things in the woods that make me nervous. That made me nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, we'll see how this goes, but it ended up going well. So all that good stuff. But yeah. But anyway, before we end this, Jacob, what's next for Coal Creek? You got any future plans?
Oh, I don't know, man. Definitely deer season. Hoping to have a better deer season this year. Last season was definitely the worst deer season I've ever had. Didn't get any shots at any bucks. Saw a lot of nice ones. Just never could get them to close the distance. Ended up taking out a couple does, but it came down toward the end of the season. So, getting a trophy buck this year would be really nice. It's been a few years since I've shot a pretty good size one. But seeing some of the hunts that you went on, black bear is definitely up there. That's on the list. Yep. I remember some of the first hunts of yours I remember watching was your bear hunts, and I just thought like that was so awesome. I remember like I think we were in high school, right? And you would go bear hunting in high school even.
I went once. I went once in high school. We went to Quebec, and that was the only that was the only bear hunt that I have not killed a bear on.
Gotcha.
So I did go, yeah, I think I would have been like how old would I have been? Freshman or sophomore, I think, when we went. And yeah, it was a good time. And my brother killed one, and then there was another kid we were with. He killed one. I just didn't have any luck that time. But yeah, so I know I was very fortunate, and I think that's why I got this love of hunting and stuff. My dad has been traveling to hunt since even before I was born, and he started taking me on some of these trips at a young age, and I've just stuck with it. And that's, I mean, I've been to Canada. I've went to Wyoming, hunted antelope. I've hunted mule deer in Wyoming. I've hunted elk, and then Texas for hogs. And then I even last year for turkey season, I went to Missouri because I met Brian from Empire Blinds. Ended up not killing a turkey, but we had a blast. Sounds like him and I are talking about I might go down in September since their seasons open up in September.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's got a spot where it's got a lot of does. I'm like, I'll go shoot some does. No problem doing that. So that's in the works, but yeah, I love to travel to hunt. It's a problem. It really is. I know. I'll tell you one thing. I have no idea if you're interested in doing this or not. But if you're looking for like something to do in the summertime, when we went to Oklahoma with Adrenaline Rush noodling, I went noodling with them, catching flatheads with your hands. Oh, dude, it was a blast, absolute blast.
Yeah, I watched that video too a couple years ago now, wasn't it? At least
yep. 2 summers ago. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done that forever. I did it when I was in high school and like late grade school down the good old Spoon River, but never end up catching one. My buddy had a knack for it. He would always pull them out somehow, but I guess I just had just the worst luck in every hole that I pretty fearfully stuck my arm in. Never ended up pulling something out, which I don't know if I was happier that I didn't or upset that I didn't. Just of like you don't know what's coming until the first time you get bit.
Yeah, and that's what's nice. If anybody's looking to go do that, if you go with Nathan with Adrenaline Rush, he sticks his hands in the holes and he'll be like, "There's a fish in there." So he'll tell you. Now there was a couple times, once I can think of, where he's like, "I think it's a fish. It might be a beaver. Who wants to go?" And I was only dumb enough for him to go in there and try to help him, and we end up not finding whatever it was. Yeah, that's something like if you're looking for something to do in the summertime, that's always fun. But yeah, no, like I said, I've been very fortunate where I've been able to travel around and try new things and stuff.
Yeah, that probably helps a lot, getting raised doing that. I'm kind of the opposite. I actually got my dad into hunting probably 6-7 years ago, got him into deer hunting. And he was always one of those that said, why would you sit in the woods all day just waiting and hoping something walks in front of you to kill it? Like I would very specifically remember him saying that as a kid. My uncle hunted a lot and my dad just kind of like that. That's a waste of time. Like, who wants to sit there for all that time? And then I started getting into it and I could tell he was getting interested and I was young. So like my mom wanted him to go with me because she was afraid that I was going to fall, get killed or something, be stranded out in the woods. So, and as he saw me shoot some and have luck, like he just got hooked and he kills a deer every year and he's gotten a lot better at it and he enjoys it. And it's something that like I've had the opportunity to teach him. Whereas, you grow up learning everything else from your parents. It's kind of cool to turn around and give something back to them. And taking him on that hog hunt, like he was a rookie and it was almost like babysitting a child at some points. I give him a little crap for it, but it was fun, and we had a really good time. And
Mm-hmm.
he's somebody I can call up. Hey, you want to go hunting? And most times, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything going on, he's out there with me doing it.
Yeah, that's what, it's always more fun too when somebody's out there with you.
Oh, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Other than the hog hunt, he's on a video too, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I thought.
I haven't had a chance to actually get him behind the camera shooting
Yeah.
anything, because I
Mhm.
self film everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year I might try to hook him up with a GoPro or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, from self filming,
Mm-hmm.
you're not only thinking about trying to be successful and get out there and actually kill something, but at the same time getting everything on film. It's just a whole new realm to it. How
Yeah.
much all the gear you have to carry. Like, what would you say that your pack weighs just getting everything out there to deer hunt, to bow hunt?
So it obviously depends if I'm just tree saddle hunting or if I'm going to a preset spot, so I don't have to carry any sticks or saddles or anything. I mean, I still got, man, I bet I got 30 pounds at least. And then if I got my sticks and stuff, I'm looking at more 40 or 50 pounds, and that's if I'm not doing an all day sit. If I do an all day sit, I'm bringing my lunch, snacks, usually a thermos of coffee. Like now we're
Yeah,
getting even more up there. Yeah, so it just kind of depends on that. So yeah, it's heavy compared to because really, if you're not filming, I mean, your pack might weigh 10 pounds, maybe,
yeah,
if you're
yep,
not filming. Where you got some snacks, hand warmers, a knife, and whatever you're shooting. So yeah, it's yeah, a lot different because you got your camera arms, your tripods, depending where you're at, and yeah, it's different. It's fun
yeah,
though.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The rewards there, like once you actually
Mm-hmm.
have success with it, get everything on film.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's like I think we need a couple quiet cats or something. All that
Yeah,
gear, like
yeah.
you ever just get to the stand and you've packed all that stuff in just to try to film a deer hunt, and you're soaked in sweat, it's 30 degrees, and then you're getting freezing cold because you're
Yep.
wet, and it's like, okay, now I've filled the whole timber with my scent. It's like,
Yep.
why am I doing this? Why am I even filming? I'm just going to go back to shooting deer and being done
Mhm.
with it.
Nope, I've definitely felt that way. That's honestly kind of why there for a while I got really big into saddle hunting, and I have nothing but good things to say about saddle hunting if you want to be portable. But I've now kind of went back to I try to do more pre-hang setups, just because it's so much easier. Just
Yeah,
so much easier, where I can just walk to my stand, and a lot of times because I know my pack's heavier. A lot of times I'll be walking to my stand in only a t-shirt, and I have all my other stuff in my backpack because I know I'll start sweating even if I have a long sleeve on. And even though it might be a cold walk, I'm usually not cold by the time I get to my spot, and then I can throw my stuff on. So
yep.
I know that's part of it. But
You found your style of hunting change any since we started out as teenagers,
mhm,
and like I know that I had some tree stands that I put up as a teenager, and
mhm,
then I leave them alone for a little bit, and then as
mhm,
you have kids and everything, and you start to wise up a little bit, I've come
mhm.
back and look at some of the stands I've hung and been like, oh my god, I hunted out of that. Like, how did I get my leg that high? Or
Yep,
why did I use them stupid little screw-in stakes
yep,
instead of
yep.
spending the money on a ladder?
I would say two things have changed with me. Number one, I hunt less field edges. I dive in the timber more when it comes to strategy wise. You'll see less deer, but you're more likely to see big ones. These last few years, I have seen more bigger deer than I have probably in most of my hunting career. Where I would spend a whole season and maybe only see a couple big ones. Where now I see them a lot more bigger ones, and I still hunt field edges. But I just when the time is right to do so.
Yeah.
So I dive in the timber more and stuff. But then safety wise, I used to never have a safety harness or a safety line. Every one of my tree stands now, if I hang it, there's a safety line in it. All the way lifeline, all the way from the bottom. I don't mess around with that anymore. I've had a couple close calls. I've never completely fallen out of a tree stand. I had a tree stand break on me once, and I had a safety line on, but I was just rehanging it, and it was an old lock on, and the cable broke, and I fell. I fell from the stand to there's a big limb underneath the tree, and my left ass cheek, bam, hits that. I kind of straddled it and grabbed it, and I had a buddy with me, and he was filming, and he just shut the camera off and brought it down, and that's when I fell. I got kind of afterwards, like, man, I wish you were still filming because it would have been a good safety thing for everybody.
So what cable broke on you? The cable that holds the platform to the seat, to the frame?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it was an old stand. I don't even know the make or model. It was an old stand that I've had for years, and just rusted out. So I know I like hang-ons because I can get them in harder trees and like a ladder stand, and I can get higher. I definitely hunt higher than I used to. Some of my stands, I got this. Lost you again for a second. One of my stands I hunt. It looks like I'm so far up there in the tree. I have 6 different ladder rungs that I used, and plus it's going downhill. So I'm hunting the back side of the tree with my saddle. So the uphill side is in front of me, the downhill side is behind me. So it looks like I'm even taller up there.
Yeah.
And you know, I actually got to take that stand down this year because the deer always. I went so high because I was trying to get out of the deer's eyesight, and they keep picking me up. It's actually on my video where that big buck. I had that big buck at 10 yards, and end up figuring me out before I got my bow pulled back. So we're gonna be moving. There's a tree. I got to do some cutting, but there's a tree a little back farther that I'm gonna switch everything to. But yeah, I would say I've gotten strategic wise. I think I've gotten way better, and then safety wise, I don't mess around with that anymore. And especially since I'm filming, either somebody's with me filming or I'm taking them out and I'm filming them. And the last thing I want is somebody to fall from one of my tree stands. That's that would not be cool. So that's another reason why I do. Well, that's also a reason why I go to the saddle hunting anymore. If you saddle hunt properly, you should never be able to fall from a tree. Now, have I done some shady stuff with the saddle that I shouldn't be doing? 100%. But
well, you got to have fun with it.
Exactly. If you do it properly, you should never fall from a tree stand. And that's one reason why I went to saddle hunting. And it's also like what's nice about saddle hunting. If you invite me to go out with you and I'm going to film you, and you have a tree stand made for one man, that's fine. I go with you. I go up your tree stand first. I take my platform. I put it behind you, and I all of a sudden I have a 2-man setup to film. So I don't need to hang double sets anymore. I can just hang on one set, and if either I'm gonna go film or even a lot of my team members have dabbled now or have bought saddles. So even if they're going out to film with me, they can jump on the backside and film me as well.
Okay.
So it works out really good. It's a rabbit hole just like thermal is. I have 3 saddles. I don't need to have 3 saddles, but I have 3 saddles. So it is a rabbit hole, but I definitely I tell people to check them out. So
yeah, I think you got me talked into it. Just talking there when we were coyote hunting about the advantages of it and everything. And I told you before when we were out hunting, just the idea of trying to draw with all those ropes and everything around you, that's more intimidating to me about it. It's like having that freedom to spin around to shoot and everything. But it sounds like that's the way to go. So I think that's probably going to be one thing I do this season to improve on and try to run the saddle and utilize the tree and everything as cover. I think, that makes sense. That's got to be where it's at. Everybody's doing it.
I got a spot that I've killed a lot of deer at. And I used to hang the stand farther back into the woods, but it was that presented a different problem. But because there's 2 really good trees, but the problem is for these trees there's a field, there's a tree, there's no cover. So I'm like, man, I don't want to put a ladder stand or a lock on because I am right there in the open then. So I did a tree saddle setup because then these deer, when they come out, I'm behind the tree. And I've killed multiple deer there. I've had deer within like 5 yards from me at the base of the tree. I have no idea I'm there until I shoot. So I've I really like that setup. It's just like the perfect saddle setup. So that's where just saddle gives you more options. If you can get your arms around the tree, you can get in the tree.
Okay.
Basketball size is what they recommend. But like I said, as long as you can get the rope across, because I've done some trees where like my hands are still not quite touching.
I gotcha.
You kind of throw that rope, and catch it, and you can do it. Then it's harder that way, but it's possible. But yeah, well, Jacob, we're at an hour. I guess I don't know. Do you have any sales pitch or anything you want to give the people before we end this?
Man, not really, other than keep an eye on what Cody and I both do. And like you said earlier, look out for some collaborations. Hopefully get a couple more rounds of coyote hunting, do that next year, run some night hunting, and you never know what you might see us jumping in together on next. Or, if you like real hunting of any sort, obviously check out Thin Blue Line Outdoors. I've been checking them out for years. Check out my stuff at Coal Creek Outdoors. It's raw, uncut hunting. It's how we do it down central Illinois. So if you want to see what's up, check them out.
Yep. Again, Jacob, thanks for coming on again. I had a blast coyote hunting with you. Blast talking to you. And I'm like he said, guys, we're going to definitely be doing some future collabs and stuff. Super excited to what has for the future of both Coal Creek and Thin Blue Line Outdoors. But other than that, guys, that was podcast 79. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We got some more podcasts coming, and we got some good announcements coming here soon. So stay tuned to the channel. Super excited. Just locked up one today, actually. As I record this on April 4th. So again, super excited for that, guys. And other than that, be safe out there.